Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. And we have a very special guest today. I'm going to pass the torch off to Randy, and let's see what he has to say.
Oh, I think everybody saw Christine's air asterisk special, but no, we're fortunate enough to, this is a podcast about trading and the struggles of trading. And I think something that is not talked about enough is who's on the other side of that struggle, whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's your parents, whoever it is. But we don't ever get to have that. And I don't think I've ever seen a trading podcast where the spouse or partner of one of the traders or the host came onto the show. So this is a first for us, but we've been talking about this since day one. And Andrew, first of all, sorry, let me introduce Andrew. This is Andrew Letersky, Christine's husband. I was fortunate enough to meet Andrew when was it? When did I go? Last month. We met in Mexico, but we've talked here and there over some time through obviously Christine. But where was I going with that? I lost my train of mind. But just talking about having a partner on the other side of trading and actually getting their perspective, and then hopefully maybe seeing if there's things, because I know for sure Hillary tries to tell me stuff, and I don't listen very well when it comes to her giving me advice when it comes to trading. And maybe because it's my partner, but now with especially Thomas and I being on the other side and we have no repercussions, we get to either like Andrew's advice, not like it. It doesn't matter, right? So
yeah, no, it's 100% the partner. I can tell you that right now.
So it's this is where just again, this is going to be a super cool episode. We've been talking about this since episode 1 or 2, and Andrew was the first out of our spouses to say I'll do this, get in the hot seat, and Andrew's probably going to turn it on us and put us in the hot seat. So. It's gonna be a fun episode. Let's get into it.
Yeah, Christine gave me a bunch of dirt on you guys, so I got some deep questions we're gonna get into today.
I'm sure. But I was actually just talking with Megan. I think it was yesterday about. She asked what's the whole goal with the podcast, and what do you like when you go into each episode? Are you trying to convey a message? And I thought about that for a moment. I was like, no, absolutely not. I think we have a topic, but we're not trying to convey any message. And we're really more just trying to be real and just trying to talk about what's going on, because I know other people are going through it. And just maybe 10 minutes ago, DV in the ASFX chat, he messaged to us that your pod makes for good driving listening. There are so many things that I struggle in silence with, and you touch on a lot of that without knowing it. So kudos to you basically. And I don't know, I felt like that was a really nice message. And I feel like this podcast will be an interesting dive into a totally new world for us, where we bring someone from the opposite side. I know with me and Megan, we've gone through periods where I've shared a lot about my trading. We've gone through periods where I haven't really felt like I've been able to share a lot. There's been periods where she didn't want to hear much from me, but then there's also been periods where she only wants to hear how it's going. So, Andrew, give us from the third person view, what is it like to see the trader come out of the room after they've had a shitty day or a great day, and how does that impact you and the household?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Christine's starting to sweat right now. She's like, what's he going to say? Which way is he going to go? So first of all, in our family, we stand by a very solid principle of that I would rather be punched in the face with truth than coddled with a lie. And what that means is that we will always be brutally honest with one another when we know it's there to support the other person, right? So, and today I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not gonna say it's this way or it's that way. What it is, and what's I love about Christine and find it infuriating about Christine at times is that she likes to hear me talk about my business. At least she seems to listen. But when it comes to about trading and hearing about trading, I feel like some days I'm pulling teeth, right? It's like, how did today go? Good. Okay. What else? What happened? I took a couple trades. And give me some more information here, right? I won one, I lost one. It's okay, that's great. you know? And then there's other days where, and it's funny enough, as I think about this, I think the days that she loses, she's more forthcoming with it. She's like, yeah, I lost a couple today. You know, it didn't go well today. But it's almost like she's like reluctant to let me know when she does well. So I feel like it's one of those things where I really do have to kind of pry it out. But one of the things that I love and that I can say is, as somebody who's not a trader, who if I was would struggle with this immensely, is that I usually have to wait for her answer before I know if it was a good day or a bad day. She doesn't bring the negative energy. She doesn't bring the like disappointment. She doesn't take that with her and bring it to the rest of our family and make it everybody else's responsibility to handle for the day. She handles that as an individual who would do much better at it than I would. I can tell you that right now.
Look, I sound like an amazing person right now.
I think that is such a special skill to develop, and I'm still developing that skill. And I'm 2 years into trading. And there'll be moments, I want to say the first year, Hillary could tell the second I walked out of the room, smile, frown, tear, nothing on my face, but she could feel the tension. Like it was real. Like she would know instantly something happened, something's not good. And it's a bit of a stigma and a double-edged sword. And I've been working, a lot on this, is not, being, like they say, when a professional trader talks about being level, like not getting the highs and lows, the dopamine. And this is the fine line of being a professional trader and being a gambler, to having addictions when it comes to trading. It's anything in life. I just have been really practicing since Miles was born, is just trying to be more flat. And I don't like flat as a word, because flat just is like, is he okay? Like, is he depressed? Is he happy? Is he sad? Like, it doesn't make sense, but just more in the sense of it's not extreme highs and extreme lows, just finding a level. And Christine has that skill, but Christine's a mom of 2 kids. I got to imagine you've been practicing being level and holding your emotions and like not losing your shit for a long time versus, coming into being a new dad and trading. And obviously Hillary does majority of the work during the day with Miles, so I don't get to experience that. But yeah, I know, I love how you have that, and I've been working on it. And it's a bit odd because sometimes Hillary won't tell if I've had a good day or a bad day, and then it puts her in a position where she has to think about her reaction to something. Because or it was almost like if I had a bad day and I said something, it makes it easy now to put everything on that, right? So everything comes with its challenges, and it's always evolving. It's like a relationship. And you throw, and especially both you, Christine and Andrew, both have 2 separate ventures, 2 separate things they're doing, trying to build something for their family. So it's like mixing all these dynamics for sure. I could see it being tough, but I love being brutally, it's hard to be brutally honest. And I think that's the hardest thing. But when you're able to do that, your partner will look back at you after and be like, thanks, I appreciate it. Like, I needed to hear that, or that helped me change this, or you know what I mean? So
something that you said, Andrew, about the way she talks about it just clicked with me. She's more reluctant to say when it's going well. And that's the same for me. It's much easier going to say, hey, I took a good trade and I lost it today. It's harder for me to say, like today, I went and sat out on the patio and I traded, and I traded best I could have and came back inside and I won, and but I didn't make a thing out of it. Whenever I lose, I'm much more quick to say that. And I was just thinking about why am I more reluctant to share when I've won? And it's because I know how quickly that win can be taken away. I know the losses are guaranteed and the win can be taken away like that. And I'd love to hear from you, Christine, why you think you're maybe in the same boat as me.
I like that. I'm going to challenge you on that in a minute too, Thomas. I'm going to come back.
Oh no, Thomas. I think in regards to this whole conversation, I've heard so many successful traders say you need to be even, like with how you feel about trading, meaning you shouldn't be happy for a win. You shouldn't be upset for a loss. And I've heard other traders say, like, if your spouse asks you about your day, good. Like, and this, I do struggle with it because I know Andrew asked me, and a lot of times I'm like, fine. And he's like, okay, like this, how he just explained this conversation is exactly what happens. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not supposed to like share it. I'm supposed to like just be cool about it. And it's almost like, I think you can get into a hard position because you want to be open and honest with your journey with your partner. But then you're also not supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be like level-headed about it and more neutral. So it's kind of like a very confusing place to be. Like, in general, I find myself talking to Thomas and Randy a lot more about my progress or anything trading wise than Andrew. I don't know if that answers your question, Thomas.
It does.
Yeah.
I see that actually, funny enough, that gives me a little insight too, because I understand like you want to be that level person as my partner, as the mother for our children, to keep the family like at that level spot so that your day is not influencing people. But yet you've got friends in the trading space where you can go up and down and it's not going to influence their day. So it gives you that conduit. I think the more important thing is, and it's, Randy touched on it too, is kind of from a leadership standpoint, like what is the best captain? The best captain is somebody who's consistent, right? No matter what happens, you don't want to be a fair weather captain. You don't just want to be on top of everything when the weather's good, right? You want to be able to handle things when they get difficult. You want to be able to be consistent across the board, right? But just because you're consistent doesn't mean you don't have days where you're happy or days where you're sad. The consistency is in your behavior and the way that you treat people around you. So, I see that being a fine line, though, between how do you have the excitement or the disappointment, but yet still treat everybody around you. And I think that's one of those dark places that everybody in the trading world probably has to toe that line on how to give enough emotion so my partner feels engaged, but not too much that I start affecting their day or other people's day around me. Right? It's got to be a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, no, and
Go
ahead. Sorry. No, I was just going to say, it's like what I was saying in the beginning is I would do a backflip out of my room one day and Hillary would be like, "Oh, it's a great day." I would do it. I would come out of the room another day and she would drop a fork on the ground and I'd be like, something about the fork falling on the ground, right? Like, and I think it's just about being consistent. And now it's, I don't love social media, but I'm a big part of social media. It's a big part of my life. I just don't like a lot of the fake stuff that goes on there. But to be honest, Hillary gets a lot of information from my social media on how my day went. I will put up my wins and my losses and she'll see it then. And then, so some days we'll have an argument and she'll be like, "Did you have a bad day trading?" And I'll know she hadn't been on social media yet today, because she won't know whether it's a good or bad day. And sometimes it's easy for her to revert back to equaling up her and I not getting along about something or having an argument. And again, full disclosure, everybody knows we're new parents, and Andrew and Christine will know this firsthand. When you're new parents, you think you tested your relationship before, have a child, and have two completely different views on things. Yeah, have two, exactly, right? And she's a very, I'm a more disciplined person. She's not. And anyways, neither here or there, but you mix that in with trading, and it's like, it's so easy to be like, he had a bad day trading. This is why he's not agreeing with me on this subject, or we're having this disagreement, right? So, and I don't know if, Thomas, I guess you don't really see that as much with Megan because you guys don't have kids yet, but it's hard.
But we're young. We're just young and like still trying to figure things out, like with ourselves. Like we're just trying to figure out our own life, and like separately and together. And that's its own journey, as you guys all know very well. But what I wanted to ask you about, Andrew, is like, I have to imagine at the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur and you've had days where you have a shitty entrepreneurial day and whatever that looks like in your journey. And at the end of the day, trading is very similar. And the other day was driving and I was frustrated. I kept thinking about a trade and I was like, why am I frustrated? I was frustrated because I was just a loser. Like I had just been losing trades left, right, and center. It wasn't about the money. I was just a loser. And that felt really fucking shitty. But it wasn't about the money. And I want to come back to like you and your entrepreneurial journey, going through difficulties, and how in trading it can be so hyper fixated on the money when it might not even really be about the money, and it's more about the journey, and that entrepreneurship still takes a long time as well. So like, why are we putting trading into this bucket when it's really just about entrepreneurship as a whole?
Good question. So, I think just to preface this for people who don't know who I am, I do business coaching for people in the green industry, landscapers, things like that. So my industry is very number focused. We're always looking at, what the revenue, the profit is, and the numbers at the other side. So when we don't get the results and things don't go the way that we want, or we don't close a new client, whatever it is, again, it's always number based, right? It's what got brought in, what didn't get brought in, how many sales, what was your conversion? So very similar in like a statistical standpoint where you're looking at this stuff. But one of the things when I started doing this was it would actually affect me a lot more. Going back, I've been in it a few years now. But in the beginning, and Christine can probably attest to this, there were definitely days where I didn't sign a new client, didn't go the way I wanted. And I definitely was lower, right? Lower energy, bummed out, questioning, well, maybe I'll try this thing, or I'll do a different thing, or maybe I'll try this tomorrow and spend 3 hours telling her about this next thing that I never did. But ultimately, it's when I shifted into focusing on my own value. So when I started looking at my own value and I really went deep on that, who I am as an individual has nothing to do with what I do in my business. Like whether or not I sign 10 clients in a day or 0 in a day or lose 10 in a day has absolutely nothing to do with my value as a human. Right. And when you can start to look at yourself that way, like to you today, like losing, or maybe you won today, but you take a loss, whatever it is, like to sit there and then ask yourself a question like, okay, I took a loss. Does that make me worth less? As the individual, I sit at the desk or stand or wherever you are, am I worth less as a friend, as a partner, as a parent? Like in this moment, does losing make me less of the individual I am?
And it's only if you let it.
Only if you give power to that, right? And when you realize, you go, well, no, I'm still just as valuable. I'm still a great friend. I'm still all these other things, even though I made a bad trade or I missed a sale, right? It doesn't mean that you yourself are less valuable. It just means you've got a place to learn, right? It's really an opportunity or a gift that's being given to you to become a better version, which is going to lead you to that next win, that next trade, that next entry at the right point, pointing you in that direction.
And I love that. It's kind of like how they say in trading, sometimes you hear some of the older traders talk about celebrating your losses and really, celebrating those losses, focusing in. And then we have Isaac, another friend of ours that we trade with, that whenever he has a big red day, he goes and treats himself to something nice, just to remind himself that like he is worth it, and this does not define him. And I'm going to go out for, when people lose money, they usually don't go spend money, but he's just treating himself and reminding himself that, I love myself still, even after a bad day. So super cool. And I'm glad that it just, when you hear stuff that, works in other people's lives, not just traders, because we get so sometimes like pigeonholed into being, it's got to be this way. But hearing Andrew, who has nothing to do with the space, and just come and like say his part in it, and we get to reflect on it and be like, yeah, I think the same way too. Like it's good to know that. So
do you think traders speak too focused on like the actual money value of things, where an entrepreneur might be more thinking about the larger business plan? And even though you've spent 20K on a marketing campaign and it hasn't generated you anything, you like still learn something from that, and you're not actually thinking about the 20K, and you're thinking about the marketing plan that failed. Whereas I think a lot of traders, myself included sometimes, is thinking, damn, I just lost $200, instead of, oh, that's why the system failed today.
So I see this on smaller businesses, right? When people are just operating by themselves, or there's like 1 or 2 employees, is every expense or every time money leaves their account or when they mess up is always like a big negative for them. It hurts a lot more, right? And I think that probably has something to do with the size. And as you become a bigger trader and you get into larger amounts, maybe even though they're larger dollar amounts, they don't hurt as much when you have more cushion. But the thing is that if we zoom out, and this is what I teach everybody with, when they come with me, I had a bad day, this happened, whatever. I said, let's just zoom out for a minute, right? Like, let's look at the last 30 days, 60 days, look at the last year, right? You guys know, if you look at the S&P in any particular period of time, it can look like there's a big drop. Well, zoom out over 30 years and what do you see, right? Consistent growth. So it's like, at the end of the day, that small loss, that small thing that's, you know, puts you into a spiral. It's like, let's move back for a minute. Does this change the knowledge I had before the trade? Right? Does this change who I am, the behaviors that I have, the rules I've set in place? Does any of this actually affect that? Or was it just a one-off? And if it was, what can I learn from it? Is this my opportunity to test being level? Is this my opportunity to then go back and do some more back testing? Right? Is this my opportunity to say, it wasn't actually the campaign, if we go back to business, it wasn't the marketing campaign that fell flat. It was my website. I wasn't sending people to the right spot, or I wasn't converting them on my sales. There's always another place that we can kind of go and look. And it's never just the one at surface value. There's usually something else buried a little deeper.
I'm truly surprised with how much trading like words you know.
Oh, I got my trading dictionary right here in front of me.
I think
you're saying trading terms.
I think Christine, Thomas, and I, and the three of us would all be surprised how much our partners know about trading, but they just don't talk about it because they don't want to either offend us because they don't know the right lingo or use something in the wrong term. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'll tell you exactly what it is, Randy. It's like down here in Mexico, if you say like hola, like buenos dias to someone, they're like, oh, you speak Spanish. Right? It's like let me.
You don't want to get caught, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think that's that at all. It's just that we talk enough about it in our family. Again, like, you know, Thomas, you said we're entrepreneurial. We both have our own businesses. So we talk enough about it that I understand certain aspects. But when it comes to like the nitty gritty of it, forget about it. I'm not even going to try. You guys say words. I hear you guys on the stream all the time. And I'm like, TikTok blue, banana pant. Like, it makes no sense. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Right. But I'd like, to you guys, it makes sense. It's cool. Like,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you wish you knew more? And not necessarily technically, just like overall, do you wish you knew more?
All right, because technically I was going to say absolutely fucking not. No.
Yeah. Not the technical.
I don't have room in my brain for all that knowledge, I feel like. Do I wish I understood more?
Specifically about Christine, like Christine and her trading.
I think she shares with what she's comfortable sharing right now. I think as time goes, I think this is probably for most traders too, and not just traders, but anybody in an entrepreneurial space, like confidence is a big part in who you are and what you do. And I think as you become more confident, you open up a little bit more and you share a little bit more. Because like when I say I have to pry it out of her now, I mean like and she's like, she'll actually answer me now. I feel like over a year ago, it was even harder to get information from her. So I can like see her confidence coming through in what she's doing as she's getting these little wins along the way and the stuff that she's learning. And so I don't think that yes, I want to learn more. Let's say that I want to know more, but I don't have an expectation of a timeline for it. I'm just happy to be here for when it comes out.
That's trading 101. No expectation of a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's got to be, I think the nailing it in anything in general, like, starting your first business or being a trader is not having an expectation of timelines. But even just a funny story about wanting to know more or less. I was actually just telling Hillary about I'm coding a bot, and I don't want to sound smart because I don't know jack shit about coding. I'm doing this all through my chat. I'm just learning this as I go along. And I'm telling her about this bot, and I'm like, I got this bot. It's got a 66% win rate. And she's like, oh, and she's like, what happens when the bot loses? Whose fault is that? And I'm like, I coded the bot. I guess it's my fault. Like she was more worried about the loss side than anything. But that's where she's looking at trading. Like every time I take a loss, it's a hit to my confidence or a hit to my conviction or a hit to my, how I'm feeling. So I know she definitely is coming always from a place of she's been my number one supporter this whole time. So I have to remember, and this is actually a question I can ask you, Andrew, supporting Christine, how has that been without being either over supportive or under supportive? Or like you said, you guys live in a household of brutal truth. Like you guys say things, you have that, and I respect that. If you were talking to either me or Thomas in private, or even just helping someone called you one day and lo and behold, you found out they were a trader, and what advice would you give them coming from a background that, oh, my wife's a trader. I've been on the other side. I've seen the happy moments, the sad moments. What advice would you give someone so they could understand their partner better? I hate to be with a one, but it's just something that I'm always interested in knowing, right? Like,
yeah, you know what? I think I would say to share a little bit more. I think I would say and I think it depends on the individual, but with our relationship, like I can handle ups and downs, right? Like Christine can dump as much on me as she wants to. It's not going to change who I am as a person, right? I don't think every relationship exists that way, right? I definitely think there are some people who can't handle the ups and the downs from their partner in that regards.
Do you think that that's a difference because you're a man and I'm a woman? Like, do you think Thomas and Randy could go do that to their partners the same way?
Well, again, I'm going to come back to a leadership stance on it, right? And it's like realistically, there is always going to be the leader of the family. There's going to be one who is the leader, and the leader should be the most stable, whether or not the leader is the trader or not. I can share my shitty days at work or my not so, the good days at work, but who I am at the core doesn't change afterwards because I'm the consistent leader for it. That would be much more difficult if I was losing money every day, because again, very different business model. And I agree with that one for sure. But I think there needs to be that ability to find the way to share in a way where you bring the other person in, but then you can also still treat them as though there was the win, as though everything went the same way that day, right? It's like, it's because I share my feelings doesn't mean I need you to like coddle me for the rest of the day, right? I had a hard morning, didn't go well. I just want you to know, because I want you to be part of my life and I want to share that with you, but like, let's still go get ice cream and have fun this afternoon.
I love that. It took me a long time to come out of the room and tell Hillary that I blew an account or I did something. But finally, I remember doing it for the very first time, and it was such a relief that after that, it gets to a point now where it's like we could be, I could be done trading. We could be going out for the day to go do something with Miles. And then at some point in that day, I'd just be like, oh yeah, by the way, I blew an account today.
Oh yeah. P.S. Andrew, I blew like 5 accounts this week.
and I'd share it with her, and it wouldn't change the outcome of the day. It would just be at some point she knew that, okay, that this did happen. So then maybe I'm telling her because I feel a little angst that in case something did come out later in the day or I got frustrated with something, maybe I'm just letting her know that I did not have the best day. And I don't know if that's the right way to go about it. But at the end of the day, I think like Andrew said, it's just sharing more in general, and what works for you might not work for someone else. But I think the more you explain something to your partner when it comes to trading and you share things with them, they'll start to understand the struggle. If you just go into your room and sit at your computer and come out one day doing a backflip saying we're rich, and then the next day being like, shit, we're poor, they're never going to understand, right? They're going to look at you like you have some sort of an addiction, gambling, whatever you want to call it. Like it's such a fine line in trading because it's just, you can just put money in and either take money out or just money's gone, right? So
I have a question. I guess we're raising hands now. Andrew, I don't know if you know this, but a lot, and we get some feedback, some spouses aren't actually supportive of their partner's trading. We're lucky enough to have supportive partners, but we've talked to people that don't have supportive partners. I've seen people like say that they haven't even told their partner because they know that they're not going to get support. Like, I'm wondering, because you're the partner of a trader and you have supported me, like what would you tell partners that are not supportive? Because then maybe those traders can just send this like podcast to their partners, like a slide, like, hey, listen to this podcast, it'll help you understand. So what would you say to them if like someone's listening and they're not like 100% on board with their partner trading?
So I don't know if you're going to like what I say, but like I said, it's always the truth, is that it's never about what the other person has to hear. I never think it's like you're going to convince the other individual. In every relationship, when you meet someone, the first thing you do is you start to like them, right? Like, that's how you like kicked it off. You had a drink, dinner, whatever it is. Eventually, over time, you build trust with that individual. Once that trust has reached the critical point, all of a sudden one day, instead of saying, hey, like you, you're like, hey, love you. Oh, it's out, right? It's like, it takes the trust to be able to love. It's what's required. The same thing happens in ourselves. Like if you truly want to build self-love, you just need to trust yourself more, because that's where it comes from. And I think in so many relationships, and I mean, I speak with a lot of business owners and their spouses as well, is that there's a lack of internal trust that the individual has for themselves. And if you don't trust yourself, right? And let's say if we could just say for a, scale 1 to 10, 10 was like, I trust myself 100%. If everybody's operating at like a 3, the most you can trust your partner is a 3, because the amount of self-trust you have is the amount of trust that you can build with somebody. So if you have these relationships where people are going like, I don't trust my partner to be able to receive this information, or I don't feel like I can tell them, then the question becomes is how much do they trust themselves as a trader? If they don't think they can make it, if they don't think they're going to get there, if they don't have that self-trust, which is, I can imagine, very difficult to build, then it could be very difficult to build that, I think, together in a relationship.
And what if the partner knows, but still doesn't support it?
Well, how do we go about that one? I think that comes back to understanding each other's goals in life. And again, I think this is going to be a full circle back to leadership. It's like in a relationship, I can't think of anything more beautiful than helping each other complete their goals. Like I get excited when I hit one of my goals, but when Christine hits one of her goals, like shit, I don't care about my goals at all anymore. Like it is like, talk about the proud parent, like for the kid who just won the soccer game. Like, no, fuck that. There is nothing that I can be more proud of in my life than seeing my wife hit one of her goals. It is the most beautiful thing that I see and get to be part of. And so knowing her goals and supporting in her goals is one of the things that I think makes our marriage as great as it is, and makes for me my life's purpose so great. So I think for those people, if the other partner isn't supportive, then I would ask the question of, have you guys sat down and talked about your goals together? Like, have you sat and said, hey, as an individual, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what's important to me in this world, in this life at this time. And do that together and both truly understand each other's goals and where you're going. And then say like, okay, like, what do we need to make this happen? What's it going to take? And I think that's where you go from having a relationship where people are like here to, coming together and being able to tackle the problem, because trading's hard, guys. Again, I hear it from all you guys, and I see it, and I know the struggle that, Christine goes through and Randy go through. Thomas, you seem like you win all the time, man. I don't know what kind of struggle you got going on, but I feel like I'm busting you. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's not just a one person thing. Like you got to have that other person that's willing to stand behind you. When people get married, like it's for sickness or health, rich or poor, like you say, I'm here to help. And then you don't on the other side when they've got something they want to do. I don't know. It doesn't sound like the kind of relationship I really want to be in.
I love that.
Well, I feel like this is a good moment to kind of pivot the conversation to just a little bit to personal development, because when we met and I just overheard you, I don't know if it was talking to me or whatever, you said like, I'm in the business of personal development, but it's called coaching. And as a coach, how do you identify what someone's role is in their business? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be strengths and weaknesses. But what are you doing to identify that? Because in trading, we have a strategy, and we need to develop that strategy to fit our strengths and weaknesses. But sometimes it's not easy to see that.
So data is usually the way that we do it here for the coaching that I do it. But even before then, back to the last topic, was the goal setting is you have to know what you want, right? Every business owner is like, yeah, I want to have a better business and I want to have a bigger house and stuff. And I'm like, okay, no, like, what does that really mean? Like, how much money do you want to make a year? A lot. What's a lot mean? Well, a few $100,000. Why do you need that much money? Right? Well, I want it. No, what do you actually need to live? Right? Let's come up with a hard, tangible number here. And it's like 20, 25 grand a month is a fair bit of money for a lot of business owners, right? We're talking over $250,000 a year. It's like, okay, there's a number now. Now, where are we and what's the gap? Now that we see the gap, we get to work, because that's a data number that we have to solve, right? We don't solve problems based on feelings, based on, I want to get around here. It's like, no, we have where we are, where we want to go. So breaking it down to the data is where we always start to see, is it, for sales, is there a problem with sales, right? You're just not converting the leads that come through the door. Or is it a lead problem? You're just not getting the leads through the door. Is it a fulfillment problem? Are your efficiencies really low in the business and therefore you're wasting profit out the back end? Do you not have profit at all because you didn't price right? Right? There's a variety of different metrics we're going to look through. And I think there's some similarities with trading in it where, you can test some of your entries and you can test some of your, the risk that you're going to put on something and whether or not you're going to move a stop loss. Am I saying that right?
You're good. You're good.
I'm starting to get glazes. So I'm like, okay, I might be losing them. And it's like, so we can look at all these different areas of these metrics, but I think it comes back to the goal. It's always, where are we now and where do we want to go? And once you start to dictate that, again, and for some people going, I want to make $1 million a year. Cool. How much you make now? None. Okay, let's start with $1,000 a month. Like, let's start with something a little bit smaller because we can scale from there. Right? I have people that come in all the time doing $500,000 in their business. They're like, I want to do $1 million in my business. And I was like, okay, but if I doubled the number of leads you have, the number of sales appointments you have, the number of installs you have, would you like burn up and die? And they're like, oh yeah, I couldn't do it because you're not scalable yet. We've got to build the systems and the strategy and the discipline in the business first. And then we just rinse and repeat, right?
How much of personal development is just pushing a person into the right hole versus trying to get them to change their behavior?
Personal development, you can't force personal development on somebody. They have to want to change. So personal development truly is more about asking the right questions that help people find perspective. Because I could tell you why something's important, in my opinion. But if I ask you questions that then you dictate why it's important to you, there's a much greater chance of why you'll succeed at that thing because you were the one yourself who were able to find the perspective of why it's important.
And how do you find lasting perspective? Because I feel like it's very common that you get perspective from one trade or two trades, but then eventually you just forget about it and it doesn't actually last.
Yeah. Well, the thing about perspective is that sometimes there'll be one moment that'll change everything. And that perspective, and I can say this as becoming a parent, when you become a parent, perspective in your life changes of what's the most important thing, right? Even if you own animals, like I still remember when we first got our dog, right? And my perspective changed on things. So it can change overall, but one of my favorite philosophers is Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius talks about the contemplation of his own death and that man should contemplate his own death daily. And in doing so, he finds perspective in his day to be the better version of himself, to be the better father, the better man, the better husband, whatever it may be. All right. Now, this is something I do every single day, and it's my own death, but I contemplate Christine's and our children's. And there are times in the morning where I'll be crying, contemplating that. It's hard to do. But every single day, I ask myself the question of, if this is the last day I had, or the last day that I had with Christine, or the last day I had with either one of my kids, how would I treat them today? Would I brush them off? Would I ignore them? Would I yell at them when they asked me for something that was really just my attention? Or would I show up a little bit differently, a little bit more present, a little bit more engaged? So I think the answer to perspective is that it's not always a one and done, but it does take that framing out. Right? Let's zoom out for a minute here and imagine, what is this one trade? What is this one decision, this one entry? How much does it really change things? What if I look at the big picture here? What will cost me if I don't make this trade? If I decide not to trade today versus if I do? If I don't take that risk, or if I do?
I think as traders, we take things a lot more seriously than they need to be. Do you guys think that? Thomas and Randy?
And I was almost going to say, like, is serious the right word?
Yeah, or more like with more weight. I'm not sure.
It's like impactful. Because I get what you're saying. It's like it feels weirdly close. Like
Mhm.
everything,
Mhm.
the wins feel distant and the losses feel close.
Mhm.
And that wasn't always the case. I've so I feel like I've come to a different point in my trading now where I've made a pretty substantial change of no longer trading prop firms and just trading my own money. And I now don't feel like I'm losing money. I just feel like I'm churning money as I learn, which is churn just goes up and down, and it's not going up crazy and it's not going down crazy, and
Mhm.
it's just churning. So I am now in like a different stream of consciousness when I trade. It's much less from a fear perspective and much more from a greed perspective now. But the losses, I'm redefining my relationship with loss right now. It was yesterday when I was in the car. I took a loss. I just was bothered with the way I traded. I started saying some profanities. I was done with it. I was done. But then I'm like, all right, I got to go fish. I got to get out of this
Mhm.
terrible mind frame. And I was just like, why am I frustrated? I'm not frustrated about the money. It's just going to go up and down. I'm frustrated that I lost. And so now I'm coming to a point where I'm like, okay, how do I redefine my relationship with losing? Because at the end of the day, now it's about losing and not about money. So now I'm like, I feel like I'm taking it to the next level where before it was very much money, pain, can't get off the couch, can't get out of my chair. Like I'm stunned. I don't want to even go see Megan until I'm able to like sit and do nothing for an hour and like just get this immediate pain out of my chest.
It's so like we've been told that we need to like, I mean, our one of our favorite books is The Best Loser Wins. Like we know this information, but I remember reading this book like however long ago and going to hear him talk and but it still doesn't like I'm surprised at how long it's actually taking me.
Mhm.
Really, is what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
I'm surprised. I know what I need to do, but I'm
Mhm.
surprised at how long it's taking me to really like adopt that feeling of not sweating the losses. And I'm talking like everything. I'm talking about like just losses in trades. I'm talking about losing accounts, especially in the prop firm. It's like you have that level on top of it. It's not just losing trades or money, it's losing whole accounts. But yeah, I'm just very shocked at how long that's taking me to be okay with that, if that
Like,
makes sense.
Andrew, have you had a client that the fear of losing was hindering them from growing their business?
I've had many clients that are like that.
I
Yeah.
can't invest in this and it's too much. I can't afford it right now. Or
Scarcity mindset, right? It's the belief that there's only so much money and this is all I'm ever going to have right now. And if I lose this, I'm a loser, or I don't have any other option, whatever it is. Right. I think, Thomas, to that degree that you said, with the loss afterwards and how it affects the day, and the same thing is it comes back to perspective. Right. And that's what we try and do for people at every phase along there. It's like you lose a trade and then you sit and you're upset. What if that was that moment that you pull Marcus Aurelius back into your brain, and you don't have to go straight to death? But if you did, and you're like, okay, I just lost that trade. If this is all I have left now, the rest of this day is the last day that I'll ever have on this planet. Am I going to go out and let what just happened bother me?
Say,
You
fuck
know what I mean?
no.
It's the
No.
only moment we're guaranteed. Like we're all guaranteed this moment right now. 5 minutes from now, who knows? Right? Right. That's the thing. We don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know how long we have. If we had the hourglass on our shoulder, then we would know. But we don't have a countdown timer. So the truth of the fact of the matter is we have less time than we truly think we do. And then how do we want to spend that time?
It's very hard to tap into that perspective day trading.
How come?
Not swing trading, day trading. And I wonder why.
That's
I
the million
I
dollar
feel like if
question.
I tapped into that, I'd probably quit day trading. Because if
Hmm.
I really thought about it and I was like, this is my last day on earth, I wouldn't sit in front of the computer for 2 hours,
Well,
like blowing a
I
combine.
I think it's got to be more loss related, right? It's
Yeah.
got to be after the fact. The point of the perspective is to bring you out of a behavior that you don't want to be in, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So first thing in the morning might just preface you to be the mother and to be the wife and the individual who loves yourself and trusts yourself. That might be the early perspective.
But I should still go to work that day, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, you gotta act as if the world isn't gonna end.
But to the flip side of that comment is, it's your last day on earth. You came to the desk, you made X amount of dollars in an hour or two, and now you're spending the rest of the day with your family.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
that
but that
narrative.
money,
Well,
the money wouldn't
but
matter.
I think I get what Christine's saying. And she is different. She is different than all of us in that she is like attached to these children in some totally different way than we could ever be attached. So at the end of the day, we're still like, yeah, wake up and work and make some money, man. Like, come on. Like, I got to have some self-worth. But that self-worth for us is not the same for her. And so I actually quite understand that comment of like, maybe I wouldn't be here if I had to tap into that.
Mhm.
And I think if you do go down that route of it, if you look at it and you're like, okay, if this is the only day I have left, how will I spend it? Well, forget about anything work related. I'm canceling everything, right? And it's going to squeeze everybody to death for the day. We're all going out together. No, but it's in preference to the thing the behavior you're trying to change, right? The perspective is meant to not change your actions, although they can be, more so the way you feel about them afterwards. Again, that's
yeah, like if I compare that I blew 6 combine resets this week and I'm like upset about it, and then I think I could have died this week. Well, the combine resets aren't that big of a deal, like it is a very extreme way to say it.
But Christine, you blew those combine resets with a plan
to blow them?
No. You were trying to achieve something, and in the process, you went through these resets. Not you just got to the desk and I'm like, I'm going to click buy, I'm going to click sell. You still did what you needed to do and you did your job. It just was on a larger scale because you were trying to pass these combines fast because you had these resets and had the ability without having to put a bunch of money into these accounts right away to do this. You did what you came to do, and just it wasn't your day in the office. I don't know how else to say.
Yeah,
like it just,
that's true.
You didn't succeed at the trades you took, but you didn't just go and push buy, sell, and blow everything up.
A little bit of that.
Well,
No, you
that's where
didn't.
it's
We
like,
know that you didn't, right?
who knows? Is that
Yeah.
true? I don't know. I mean, I am hard on myself and feel the difficulty of trading when I don't make the actions my logical self wants me to make or knows I should make. And I get, and at the end of the day, the combines were free. You didn't lose money. Like, it's not like it's a money related thing. And so then it only leads to, are you happy with the actions you took to blow those? Or is that what you're frustrated with?
I think I went into it thinking, oh, well, there's no way I can't pass 2 combines with like 6 different tries.
The expectation. There you
An
go.
expectation. And then it didn't happen. And then it made me think, well, am I actually good? Like, can I actually trade? And then it makes me think, should I be a day trader? Like, should I continue this? Because if I can't pass 2 combines with 6 resets in the bank, like, what am I actually doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like
I hear what you're saying.
snowball of this one thing happened, and then it made me think this, and then it made me think this.
It's a recipe for disaster that way, right?
Yeah.
It's like the Navy SEALs, like how come out of 120, only 100 went through? Well, or sorry, it's only 20 that went through. Well, the other 100 had a plan B, right? And it's like, if I've got 6 opportunities, you're like, well, it's okay. I only got to pass 2 of 6. It's no big deal. I can miss the first 4 and still get it. If you go in with that mentality to anything you're doing, then your brain is like, well, we don't have to get this one. I'm not 100% behind you because it's no big deal. If you only had 2 and you had to pass them, or that was it, again, find the perspective in it. we would treat things differently. We would go about it differently. And the biggest kicker with that, and you said it, Christine, it's like this led to this thing to the next thing, is it's like the negative self-talk that then follows. Because you're like, well, I had 6 and I couldn't pass 2. And it's like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why can't you figure this out? And our subconscious doesn't know the difference. It's actually not smart enough to know the difference between a thought, a joke, anything else. It just literally hears in the back of it, like in your head, like, what is wrong with you? Why couldn't you figure this out? Why are you not smart enough to get this done? And that is just,
it hurts my heart.
It hurts. The negative self-talk is the word. I mean, talk about losing self-trust, right? Like if people spoke to their partners the way they spoke to themselves in their head, for most people, they'd be single. They would, right?
And I feel like the perspective for Christine is like you closed out almost a $10,000 month in your person. You know, that's to me, that's the perspective. And I just to put it out there, Christine, you may be a stock trader. You may not be the best day trader.
I even
be true.
Yet.
No, but Thomas, you're right. But I even said to Christine, I said, if you traded a couple $1,000s of personal money and day traded it, would you handle it different than a prop firm? Because when you handle your swing trades, you're vigilant on my stop loss is going to be here. I'm taking profits here. I'm not playing games, and you do your job to a T and you nail it. So I don't think it's always easy for us as traders to be like, you know, we need to go find something else, or this is different, or I can try this, or I see this more clear, when at the end of the day, a lot of the times we're probably just getting in our own way. And it's like, once you start, right now I'm struggling with the fear of taking too much profit, like not wanting to lose, taking profit, winning my trades, but watching my trade go another, 30 or 40 or 50% in the direction that I was going, and sitting there after and being like, why didn't I just keep taking, like, not being greedy, but it's like when you have a good trade, you should, lean into your home runs and then have base hits when you're not playing your best. But when you're playing your best and you're on it, like, take your home runs and run with it. So I'm having a fear of making too much money, which sounds so stupid.
It's like you're afraid of potentially having greed. It's like you think in your mind, oh, like I want to let this run. But then your brain says, oh no, that's being greedy. So I need to like get out of this now because I don't want to be greedy. I have a fear of being greedy because that's a bad thing.
Then if I'm greedy, the price is going to come back on me and I'm going to get stopped out and I'm going to take a loss because I was greedy. So I set my take profit down here and I watch price coming down to it. And I'm like, and it comes back up and it comes down, it comes back up. And then I'm like, I'm just getting out of the trade for $200. And what does price do? It goes right to my $700 take profit. It just takes 10 minutes and I couldn't handle the thought of it going back and me a fear of losing now because I've been winning and these accounts are now qualify for a payout, and every day I win in them is money I go. It's real money now, right? So it's like it's making me trade different, but then it makes me think like right now with my instant funded accounts. So Andrew, we have accounts that we can trade where you just once you get to a certain point, you make money in the account, it's your money. Then we have other set of accounts that if we trade, we have to hit profit targets to get a set amount of money. And my instant funded accounts, I am absolutely trading like shit. I mean, it's terrible. And the accounts that are funded with no consistency or any of these rules, I'm trading way better. Right. So it goes to show that honestly, I'm not for the instant funded prop game. It doesn't work for me. My impulse is me wanting to hold in, getting max profit for the day because I want to get this set amount of dollars at the end of 2 weeks. In my head, I'm telling myself it doesn't work for me. Where if I'm really starting to understand now Thomas's mindset of putting personal capital in, and how Thomas said he burned and churned. He's up and down a little bit all month, but he's still not.
I'm not actually losing
blown
money.
the account. We're not using the terms blown or right, which is what we use in prop land. So it's the more I think about it, the more I start to understand that prop firms probably are not for me. And I hate to say that because I'm affiliated with prop firms. I market prop firms. I make money from prop firms. I do.
I know you want to say something, Andrew.
We've talked about, Christine and I have talked about this in depth, and this idea of like being up in a trade and you don't want to get out because everything's okay. Or being like, no, I got to get out because like, what if it drops or I don't have my money, or if it goes down, you got to sit in it for longer because you don't want to accept the loss. So like, I get that side of it, but we've also talked about the prop firms. And I tell you, like, I'm a numbers guy. So I know when I go to the casino and I'm going to play roulette, and people will be like, most people will be like, it's 50-50, right? And it's like, no, because there's 0 and 00 on the board, and neither one of those are a black or a red. It's not 50-50. It's actually, I think, 49%. So it's like, statistically, I'm a numbers guy. So if I go on to, if like for me, day trading, prop firms would not be my spot, because I'm like, statistically, these things are rigged for me not to win. It's a business. If they made it easy for people to win, they wouldn't have any money. That's the whole point. And I get they allow people who don't have capital to get in and get started. But again, if I had this like weird level of business program where you had to come in, but you could only sell like 3 jobs a week and they couldn't be over 20 grand, and you couldn't build them this, like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Listen to it.
How are they going
listen to Andrew explain that? How fucking crazy does it
How are they
sound?
going to scale their
Sounds
business?
so crazy.
Okay, right? I hear the problem as you're speaking, Randy. It's like when you're thinking about the money part of it. Oh, it's too much. Forget about it. It's about the thesis of the trade. It's about the pattern that you're trading. At the end of the day, this is what I've come to realize with the personal account. Like my brain is not firing on the same cylinders as it was 2 months ago. It's way different. And I am only focused on, did my trade thesis play out? I saw previous day low was swept. I'm looking to get long after previous day low was swept because I think previous day low is going to be respected. Now, if it's going up, my thesis is right. So far, it keeps going up. If I'm wrong, it's going to be wrong, but it's not about the money. And then just to tie it all back to this gambling prop firm thing, because that's all it is. They want you to be focused on the money. Everything is about the money. It is. And the whole, I mean, I don't even get the marketing part of it, but like having a price and then everyone has a discount. So now you're in it for a cheaper price. You got it on discount. Now, oh, this is a freebie one. And then, okay, I got to make 200 a day, 5 days. Then I can take out $500. But that $500, you paid $300 for the account. You made $200 minus tax. Now you made what, $150 in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, all that stress. That's a terrible ROI. And it's just what the gambling, they want you to be focused on the money when trading is about the pattern.
To be honest, and this is like, I don't know if it's, I've known this in the back of my head, but I have this thing where I desperately want to make a payout. But I think if I'm honest with myself, I want to make that payout because in my mind, it will prove to the community that I've created for myself in trading that I deserve to be here. Because if I don't make a payout with a prop firm, that makes me less of a trader than everyone else in the space that makes payouts. And it makes me think, what am I trading for? Am I actually trading for not flying in coach ever again, which is my like one and only motivation? Not really, but you know what I mean? Or am I actually like trading for this community that I think I need to prove something to?
Sorry, Andrew, but this is where I think it's the brainwashing. And we've been so brainwashed. And you say this all the time. And I got to remind myself, and I got to say it. And I know you guys hate when I say it, but I say, fuck the payout. Like haven't took a ton of payouts. I've taken less than $10,000 of payouts in 2 years of trading. What does that make me? Like, it doesn't make me any less of a person. I still get to sit here and do this podcast. I still have managed to go to Mexico, and I'm coming back to see you guys. Like, I still manage to enjoy my life. So it's like, when you're flying in business class or on the private jet and you take that picture and you put it on social media, nobody's going to give a shit if you made it through a payout or if you made it because you sat down at the desk and traded personal capital. They're going to look at you and be like, look, Christine said she had this goal of achieving this goal. She achieved it. They don't know whether you did it through a personal account or through a prop firm, nor do they care. Only people that care about that are the prop firms, because then people are going to go run out and buy the prop accounts to that firm because you're showing their payout, right? Again, it's
Right.
such a vicious marketing cycle. Like it's just the wording, everything is so clever. We live in this, it's a machine, right? And it just churns and we get sucked into it and churn and churn. And I'm in it deep. Thomas is out of the matrix, right? I'm in the fucking matrix right now.
One quick note, I felt the same way, Christine. Even after having payouts, I felt the same way of, oh, I need another payout to reinforce that. I'm like, same thing, whether you have it or not. It didn't change for me.
I think because the measure of success, especially in our communities, is getting a payout. Post your payout certificate, got another payout.
Christine,
you know,
I
like
think-
I like for our coaching communities, my people are getting payouts. Like, come to my community because I'll help you get a payout.
And that's why it's being pushed, right? It's being pushed at the end of the day because the individual then gets to use it for their marketing on the back end. If they didn't have money, if they didn't have the payout part of it, or they weren't getting paid to push that particular prop firm, then that wouldn't matter at all, right? And realistically, and let's come full circle back to the like punch in the face with truth, Christine, is it's like, does it really matter what the fuck everybody else thinks? Like,
No.
If the answer is truly inside the head no, then you should do whatever you want. But if that answer isn't no, and the answer is yeah, it actually does matter, then there's the self-work, right? If you truly care about the other people's opinions enough, which I promise you, we always care about ourselves more than anybody else does. Nobody, especially social media, nobody cares what you put on social media. Nobody. We care ourselves. But if you care more about what other people think of your success, then you'll never outperform your own self-image, which means you'll be stuck in whatever this version is that you have to achieve.
And it's so true, because I'll even give you a prime example. Patrick Wieland, who's in our space, who makes the most money, tweeted this about a month ago, and he made $20 million this year off of marketing and affiliate sales and $1 million trading. And he said, does that make me a bad trader? No, he don't give a shit what it does. All he's telling you is he made $21 million this year, and his viewership and his followers and everything just keeps going up. So it doesn't, it doesn't matter. You people see him in his Lambos and this shit. All that's paid by marketing. And at the end of the day, he is an amazing marketer. He grinds, he hustles, he does that well. And if he can have the capital to trade 50 accounts and show his $22,000 day, wow. Let's see you just trade one 50K account and see how well you do over your course of time. And but he's the kind of person that just came out and said it, because the payouts, he don't give a shit about it. He's letting you know he made 20 times that selling you the prop firm, and you still go buy the prop firm from him. But he's just being transparent, right? So we put ourselves in these, like, you see all these, there's so many successful traders online that make all their money not from trading. They're all great traders, but they completely don't focus on, I have to make this from trading, because they know the revenue is coming from somewhere else. Doesn't make them a bad trader. There are some that are horrible, but there's some that doesn't make them a bad trader because they've managed to build a business through trading, and they don't have to focus on trading.
A good trader, a good marketer, a good business person. But we don't all have to be good marketers and good business people.
100%.
Like, we can just be a good trader. That's it. Like, we don't need to be anything else but that, if that's what we want.
And like, to bring it back to like applicable, I am so much more comfortable in the learning curve of trading than I've ever been before. And I do struggle with this perspective of like, I feel frustrated about not accomplishing more this year. But then when I look back, my business, because I have a business, made 8 times more revenue this year than it did last year. It did only come in like 1 month. However, that was still 8 times more money, or 2 months, 8 times more money than I made than last year. So that already is a win. And then on top of that, now not the prop firms, you lose money. You buy it and you lose money. That money is not ever guaranteed to come back. I see my trading much different with my own account. If I lose it, I see that money that is going to come back. It is not just a credit card transaction.
Dude, that's 800% growth in your business in a year. Find anybody that tells you they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
That's, yeah.
Well, I heard a wise man with a mustache once say it's all about perspective. And I think the key word, I think we should just paste perspective for the title of the episode, and that's it.
And mustache.
Yeah.
Perspective with mustaches.
Mustache perspective.
Yeah, mustache.
I think we just came up with the name for my podcast whenever I'm going to start mine. The mustache
that's such a
perspective.
good
Oh
name.
my
man.
gosh.
I got to see if that's available.
Buy it now.
T-shirt.
Thomas, go lock it in, then we'll sell it back to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the things early, and I want to circle back to it really quickly. Thomas, and you mentioned this, and we talked about it as like finding ourselves. And you said like you're still trying to figure out who you are, right? And who Megan is, and you guys are doing that. Like, man, when you have kids, you figure it out quick, right? Like you really have to figure it out. And I think like for people that are trading with families, there's been almost like a benefit to of having kids already, that you had to figure out part of who you are. And so when you get into trading, you have less of yourself to figure out, but there's probably still a whole bunch of new emotions to add to it. But like you and Megan are figuring this out right now without the force of having kids. And there's that whole nother layer. And then you guys are going to have kids, hopefully one day, if you decide to have a family. And then there'll be that next level of like, now we got to figure out who we are as traders with kids. So there's multiple layers with all of it. Less things to focus on if you don't have to worry about the kids, but more things to figure out in yourself, right? So I think the point I'm getting at here is everybody in their trading journey has got to be in a different spot, and they're all feeling different things, and they have different thoughts, and none of them are wrong, right? Like none of it's wrong at the end of the day. It's just, what do you do with it? Do you sit and just stew on it and let it dictate your behavior and your days? Or do you take the wins and it's great, we had a win? You take the losses and you go, okay, it's great, we had a loss. And we roll into the next thing. What's the next thing I'm going to learn? I only need to get just a little bit better every day, right? It doesn't have to be this massive transformation.
Love that.
Wise trading
Beautiful.
words.
Beautiful. I think we should close it up there.
Yeah, it's been
What
over
nice
an hour.
This was
Yeah.
Comments, guys. Leave comments. We'll have Andrew back for another one. Any
Mhm.
questions you think that that you want to hear from the other side of the trading? What do you call it? The trading paradigm, or the couple, or you know what I mean? But yeah, just definitely drop comments. We'd definitely love to have Andrew back. This is why we do this, Andrew, and I'm glad you got to be a part of this. This is a big thing for the three of us. It's grown our relationships into what they are today. But the comments and the feedback we get from this podcast is, like Thomas read the comment from DV earlier. Just, you could have the shittiest day trading, and you could go to our YouTube channel and you could read the comments on the videos, and you will smile, laugh. It's a whole, and then you get the odd one that you guys are too old for YouTube. Who do you guys think you are, YouTube stars? And I'm just like, actually, you're probably too old, sitting there writing the comment, hiding behind your computer. And we actually went.
If anyone comes for Andrew, I'm coming for you. So just be prepared.
Bring it on. Nothing makes me happier than knowing that I can stir emotion inside other people. Just let me hear it, guys. Make my day.
If you say shit about his mustache, I'm gonna destroy you.
Make sure you have your address. She's coming to kick your ass.
Yeah, I'm finding you.
I'll send her over.
Cheers. Have a great trading week, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.